We are back with the HubScale podcast, where we dive into the minds of security leaders all around the world. This week, we have the COO and co-founder of Suridata, Haviv Ohayon. Suridata are a seed round SaaS security posture management vendor backed by New Era Capital Partners. I'm really looking forward to unpacking some awesome topics today. It's great to have you on, Haviv.
Thank you. Thank you, Elliott. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm very happy and excited to be at the podcast with you.
Fantastic. No, really excited too. So I guess for everybody who doesn't know Haviv, could you give a quick introduction to yourself?
Yeah, sure. And as you mentioned, I'm Haviv Ohayon. It's a bit tough to say, right? A lot of Ha, which is very common in Israel. And I'm one of the founders of Suridata. I founded it along with Lee Capone and Eyal Tirken. I have a vast experience in security. I came from KPMG, leading the cybersecurity practice there, and then we founded Suridata 3 years ago. And for those of you who haven't heard about Suridata, which is not okay, we are a SaaS security platform, and we help organizations protect their SaaS environment, applications such as Salesforce and Office 365, and we are growing, right?
Yeah, no, it's super cool. You and I have been in contact for a few months now. I've been watching Suridata and the journey, number one, of Suridata, but also the SaaS security market. It's a pretty interesting space to be in right now. So just tell me a little bit more about that space.
Yeah, sure. So as you probably know, SaaS vendors is expediting. We have around 40,000 SaaS applications around the world, and companies are moving in with this trend. Just a market research done by Markets and Markets says that around for a company around 1,000 employees, they have around 120 SaaS applications, which is crazy, right? It became the new operating system. And with that, there is a lot of challenges in security, right? Companies already have scattered resources in terms of security personnel and even less in budgets, and they need to protect different environments, different applications, because Salesforce is very different than Microsoft 365, and you need to be an expert in all of this. And what they are trying to do is patched in manually, but that doesn't work. We have a saying in Suridata, fixing security issues in SaaS environment, it's like whack-a-mole. You hit one, and then you have two more popping up. Never ends, right? And you cannot get there fast enough. So we help them making sure that their SaaS security is covered, and we are the SaaS security expert in that matter.
Yeah, no, it's a super cool space, and obviously it's kind of an emerging space, especially with obviously SaaS security. I've been around for a long time, but now people are obviously taking a little bit more seriously over the past few years. So just tell me about the journey of the industry itself, because you're kind of not creating a category per se, but you're really kind of driving a new technology out there.
So I think, yeah, we are creating a category. It's still not a category in, it's just new category in Gartner and Frost and Sullivan and other, analyst companies and trade mentioning. But we are seeing SaaS security evolving outside the cloud security area because it really is a new category. And a lot of the challenges we are facing is the market education. So when we launched our product a few years ago, it was SaaS security, really. And now people are trying to are understanding that SaaS security is the new threat vector. It's where the next attack will come. And we see that in different attacks, just in the Uber case and the Okta case. This is the new attack vector, and you should secure your SaaS application, as you already know that you secure your cloud applications, right? As a CSPM or other types of markets.
Yeah, no, I know it definitely is a super cool industry, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the journey that Suridata and yourself, Haviv, are going to go on with it. But I guess I always love diving into multiple topics on this podcast, right? And one of the topics I always like to talk about, especially with co-founders, is the journey that you've been on. So just take me right back to the early days of Suridata.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. So we founded Suridata, myself and Ali and myself. A cool story is that we met at school. We both studied at Tel Aviv University almost 11 years ago. We met on our first day and we became best friends. And 3 years ago, Lee calls me and said, I have a great idea. I found something interesting. and we should talk about it. It's a funny fact that I was in my honeymoon, and I told her, okay, I will come in a month. I will come back in a month, and let's talk about it. And indeed, we came, and then we found that this area of SaaS security is not covered. Enterprises as well as medium-sized companies are facing that challenge, and we see that each and every one of us from its aspects. I came from KPMG. I led the cyber practice there. I saw CISOs struggling, and I even dare to say that myself as a security advisor, we created a risk assessment for SaaS applications. It took us 6 months. In that 6 months, they changed the entire ecosystem of their SaaS applications. They added 20 more and offboarded 15. So that keep changing, and we cannot do that manually. So we founded Suridata out of nothing. We are both coming from the business side of things, and we found Eyal, which is, you know, a classic security intelligence from the army, tech guy, techie. And we founded Suridata, and we raised money, and we recruited employee. We've been 3 people, and now we're 35, and it's a really cool journey. And along with that journey, we were with the COVID, right? We started Suridata 1 month before COVID, and then COVID came, and it was, I would say surprising, not in a good way. We thought about what to do, and then we stuffed in, and we raised from that. And it was actually took it as an advantage because we didn't need to fly to customers. Our main market is the US market. We found out that we can sell over Zoom, and customer can buy over Zoom. And it was amazing. We found out that we can save a lot of money, and we can save a lot of time, and create this sales cycles directly out of Zoom. And it was amazing. And then we merged, and we just a year ago been funded with a large seed round, and we have a lot of customers, especially financial industry in the US, but also tech company and Medicare. And it's something that is amazing to see how a company grows. It has its struggles, its challenges, but eventually we are going up, which is that's what matters.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I really like that part at the beginning. Obviously, when COVID hit and you've just started the company, it almost goes into crisis management, right? It's like, how do we get the best out of this scenario? And it sounds like you and the team have obviously built that business off the back of an advantage that you saw at first as a disadvantage. So just talk to me a little bit about that journey, because being a co-founder in a business, you do a lot of crisis management. Things happen completely randomly. You don't know how to do them at the time. But tell me how, as a co-founder of a business, you handle crisis management.
Yeah. So first of all, I think that the main thing is to understand that you need to have a good team, a good management, and a great people behind you. So when a challenge occurs, you know that you can get them into it with you. You are not alone. So when we started, it was of course my co-founders and myself, but now we have a solid management. So just a few weeks ago, we had potential customers that has been hacked and needed us to create elaborate report and making sure that the posture in the other application is strong enough. It was the weekend here in Israel starting in Friday. He called me. I was at my anniversary with my wife, and we know that there is a crisis that we need to solve. We need to help that customer right now on Friday and Saturday, right? So I knew that I have people that I can count on. So I was talking with them. We created an operations center, and we helped that customer to get what he needed within few hours. So that's what helped us to manage that crisis.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And that what you talked about there about having the right team on board really goes into the next part. Of course, me being a recruiter, I always love talking about how to attract talent to the business. But how do you attract talent to especially the early days when you're scaling? You've just got your co-founders and you're really trying to build a business. How do you attract talent?
So that's a great question, and when I think about it, so we can offer, we are very competitive with the salary, but that's not something we can be competitive with Meta or Google or AWS. And we want the top top tier of people. We want the 2% of people. We want people that knows what to do, that they have the experience, they have that passion. So what we offer to attract them is the sense of meaning. Each and every individual in this company, especially in the early stage, but even now, has meaning. He's not just a bolt in the system. He owns the system. Every part of it will work. A customer proof of concept will fail if someone is not good enough, if someone doesn't do his job, if someone is not dedicated for his work. And that's appeal to them because they have the sense of ownership, right? So we let our employees, on the one hand, they know that they are going to work hard, the hardest they ever worked with. But on the other hand, they have a sense of accomplishment because everything they do come the next day to the customer or the next sprint, right? To the customer. And they see the feedback instantly. And what they do, nobody else will do. So I think that's the main thing that we can offer to attract top talent.
Yeah,
It's the
for sure.
state of mind.
Yeah, no, for sure. It sounds like you built an amazing culture around accountability and giving people kind of a mission as well, which is really important, especially in today's age. People need to be involved in creating a company as well. So how did you do that? Because that's pretty hard. It's easy just to say, right, this is how our business works, but how did you actually create that culture?
Yeah. So first of all, I have the honor to make sure that I'm involved in the recruitment phase of every employee in the company, because culture is something that is really important for us. We are making, first of all, we have a diverse company. Our CEO is a woman, and we have different people from different and diverse backgrounds, not just the classic intelligence unit technology company startup, Israeli startup. And the way that we keep the culture is, first of all, to be a human being, right? We are a family. We work closely with our employee. I try to be with them and understand what makes them happy, how tough are their life right now. We are very open to communication. Uh, every time we finish a sprint, we have a debrief. The purpose of the debrief is not to get on someone neck, it's not to accuse anyone. It's to learn, to understand, to see how we can do better. So once you do that, and once you have that open communication, people knows that this is a true family to them. We've been there to their worst, and we are there for their good. So we help them get that meaning here as well.
Yeah. No, I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome. And having, again, it's about that kind of the whole process and you being involved throughout all the interview processes as well. It keeps that culture maintained, which is pretty cool. So I guess just on that part, I know you're 35 people now, just gained seed round last year. What's the plans for Suridata?
Yeah, so we are in a growth stage. What we do is that we keep adding new and new customers, and with that, we are increasing our team. We just recruited 3 new employees last month, and we continue to grow. We opened our office in the US. My co-founder went there to open that office. We recruited a VP sales. So we are in a growth stage. We are growing. We continue to bring new developers, product management, and as a company grows and we want to sustain that growth, we will go for another round of funds.
Yeah, no, it's super exciting. There's lots to go at in this world, and it sounds like you're making them moves. Obviously, with the hires in the US, the office opening as well. It's super exciting indeed. I guess I always like to kind of dive into a couple of things. And one of it is quite selfish from my perspective because I'm going through my own start of my entrepreneurial journey anyway. But I
Of
guess
course, it's your baby, right?
it is indeed. I guess just advice for entrepreneurs. I will dive a little bit deeper into this in a moment, but just from holistically, what advice would you give to entrepreneurs out there?
Yeah, so I think that every entrepreneur have to have determination. It's easy to make mistakes. We've done lots of mistakes all along the way. We'll keep doing mistakes. The thing is that first you have to learn from these mistakes, and then you have to be determined. You know what's your goal. You know what you want to get. This is your life. The startup is your life. I always tell my wife that startup is my second baby. but actually it's the first because it came before my baby.
Oh,
So, but still to remain married. Well, so I need to choose my wording carefully.
yeah.
But
I was gonna say, don't show this episode to your wife.
yeah, definitely, I'm not going to. So the company is really part of me, and when I work hard because I know what we can accomplish. I know what my goal is. So determination and learning from your mistake, not doing the same mistake twice.
Yeah. No, that's really important advice. I think I guess that the early stages of it, and this is where a lot of my network and people who listen to this podcast ask me a lot of questions on, is that early stage finding product market fit, getting the right people in, which we've talked about. That real early stage when you're setting up, what is the best piece of advice you could give to somebody at that stage?
Yeah. So before the advice, let me tell you a story.
Okay.
When we first started, we only had a deck, right? You only have a deck, which is the worst deck we ever had, right? And you have that deck, and then you need to make sure that you have a product market fit, that you're trying to solve a problem that really exists. So what we did, we sent out outreach in LinkedIn manually, personally to CISOs. All we ask for is 30 minutes of their time, not to sell them anything, to hear the thoughts. And then we ask them a lot of questions, and I can recommend hearing or reading the book The Mom Test, which explained really that how to truly understand what a product market fit is and how to ask the right questions. So my advice is go out there, communicate with people, and you will find that a lot of people are willing to help. We had a lot of help from different founders along the way, and it definitely matters. And we help startups in their early days right now. So don't be afraid to ask, and don't be afraid to outreach people to get their attention.
I think that's great advice. I was speaking to somebody, funny enough, probably a couple of days ago around this. We had a podcast with a CISO, and he gets reached out all the time by different vendors, but he always wants to help them. If not, he will introduce them to somebody as well. So at the end of the day, security is a small community, and it's all
Yeah.
about building that trust with everybody, right?
Yes, definitely. Especially in Israel, you can
Yeah.
always get to someone through someone you know, and don't be afraid to ask them because people really are willing to ask help. And if you're not coming from that sales approach, and you really try to understand that how they are thinking, then it will help. And I have to say that although we didn't came with that sales approach, we still got customers out of it because they truly became your champions. You create that bond, and they will go with you. They understand what you are trying to do. It's something that might help them. So eventually it will be convert to a customer.
Yeah. Yeah, no, love it, love it. And just another point on kind of the advice for entrepreneurs. Obviously seeking investment can be pretty challenging, especially maybe early doors, especially seed round. What advice would you give to entrepreneurs seeking investment?
Yeah. So first of all, you need to get to the investors through someone you know. You need to get that warm intro, and you need to listen to them. I see a lot of startups saying, "Okay, the investors are not nice. They really went at it, came at me, or didn't say nice thing." Eventually, what investors are saying is a feedback. You need to listen to that feedback. You need to listen to that. You need to improve according to that feedback. Not you don't need to do everything they're saying, but you need to open your mind to that feedback and learn from it and create that relationship with them. Even if they told you no, later it might be changed to yes. But you should always create that connection and make sure that people know you.
Yeah. No, I think it's awesome advice, and keep that maintaining the feedback loop as well throughout the entire process, even your first customers, everything along those lines. I had on a guest a couple of months back, and we were talking about the initial customers, but don't go changing your product considering what they're wanting either. Not all the time, maybe sometimes, but
Yeah, I have to say that now that we have a customer bases, we work with them to improve our product. but we also keep eye on the trends in the market. And I have to say also what our competitors are doing, right? We are keep putting our hand on in the pulse, right? We are in that market. We understand what the trends, how Gartner see it, how customers seeing it, and I'm keep doing outreach to people. Now I know more people, so I outreach the people that I know, but to hear their thoughts about the markets, how they see the problem. The product market fit issue or challenge is never ending. You should always be under the understanding that you don't have a perfect product market fit. You always need to make sure to strive to 100%, but understand that you are not 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's solid advice again. Really, really solid advice. And Haviv, I always leave the podcast with one final question, and it goes back to starting your career. But what advice would you give to yourself if you could start your career again?
Yeah. So that's actually a very personal advice because I actually learned economics and accounting. And my advice is don't just study something that you know that you don't want to do. Go with your heart, but also be open to say yes. Don't be afraid of risks. Take a risk, jump on it, and you always failing if you're not doing something. So always do something. Always go with your passion, and don't be so much afraid of the risks.
I love that. I love that. I literally done a post on LinkedIn today talking about failure and how failure is actually the gateway to see where you're going. So yeah,
Definitely. I failed a lot in my life. It's that you learn from that and then you succeed.
yeah. Well, no, I absolutely love it and appreciate you coming on the show, Haviv. I'm really excited to see
Pleasure.
Suridata for the next few years expand. But yeah, appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you, Elliott. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.